So basically, Tara is like a primordial Buddha of wisdom. And she is green. Well, there are many different emanations of Tara. Famously, there are 21 different emanations. Some are peaceful, some are wrathful, but I want to talk about green Tara today. She's portrayed as green. And what that greenness is about is it indicates, it's connected with the air element. And air is like, it's swift. You know, if you think about ancient people, they didn't necessarily realize that there was anything here, you know, that there was air, that there's actual molecules here. So they thought of air as being kind of swift and responsive. And so green Tara is green, and that partially evokes this sense of her as very swift, very responsive to the suffering or the needs of living beings. Martinez, hello, welcome. So when you do the practice of green Tara, there's kind of, you could say, a couple of aspects to it. You can do the practice, and this is the way you would do it in kind of like a full, you know, deity yoga session. You would imagine her, you could say, you can imagine her outside yourself, and then you imagine yourself arising as her. But really the understanding is she's never separate from us. Vivek says, I love Jataka tales, past births of Buddha. Yeah, exactly. This is a past birth of Buddha Tara. Much more widely known in the Mahayana than in the Theravada or earlier forms of Buddhism, but very inspiring. So you can have a sense of yourself as Tara. And I don't want to talk too much once we actually start doing the practice of Tara and singing her mantra together. It's more traditional to not speak if you're doing mantra recitation, because you're kind of interrupting, you know, the flow of the mantra that you're saying. So you don't usually have, you know, non-sacred speech or speech other than just reciting that mantra. So I'll just do the explanation now, and then we can recite all together. But basically, as you say her mantra, you can imagine yourself, you know, taking on the form of green Tara. And I would say, don't worry, if you're not familiar with what she looks like, don't worry about it too much. You can just imagine like a green light at your heart center. Imagine yourself taking on the form of a Buddha of compassion, whatever that means to you. And yeah, just whatever cultural form feels good, you can use that. And then you'll say the mantra. You can imagine beams of green light going out from your heart in all directions, and basically asking for the blessings to kind of realize the truth of green Tara. You know, her compassion, her wisdom, her responsiveness to the needs of beings. And you imagine that those beams of light coming back into yourself, blessing you so that you can really access that wisdom within yourself. You can also just say the mantra almost as a form of prayer, like invoking the help of green Tara, because she is traditionally associated with saving you from different fears and calamities. You know, a couple of things that are relevant for us now is she saves you from the fear of bad things happening to loved ones. She saves you from the fear of illness or, you know, plague. She also saves from like elephants, which for most of us are probably not anymore a pressing issue, but I just want to invite you, if it feels too complicated, to send out beams of light and have them come back into your heart center. And then, you know, imagine yourself as Tara, sharing that green light in all directions with all living beings, blessing everybody. That's the end of the kind of traditional way of doing it, where you just share with everyone. If that's too complicated, you can just say the mantra and feel like you're receiving support from the universe, from Tara, the Buddha of wisdom and compassion together, swift responsive Tara. So you have those two options for how to kind of work with the mantra that we're going to say. So all of that was a long introduction, but now let's just do some practice, and I will kind of sing the Tara mantra. Feel free to sing it with me. Feel free to just recite it. Traditionally, we would sing it together a few times and then just recite silently. So I'll sing it a few times and then you can just choose what works best for you. And then I'll sing it again a few times at the end to kind of bring us back together. All right, and feel free to post any questions that you have or comments, and I'll look at them again after we've meditated a bit together. So, my fellow Taras can just bring to mind a green, compassionate, responsive energy. Oh, I should say, Jamie mentioned having missed the earlier discussion of mantras. So when we say Tara's mantra, the idea is that we're evoking, like the syllables of the mantra evoke the energy of that Buddha. So when we say Tara's mantra, every syllable we say, it's like we're bringing into our mind and our heart that natural capacity for wisdom, for compassion, for responsiveness that we also have. So we're not just calling on like an external being, although, you know, that's definitely how traditional Buddhists would see Tara, that she is out there, she responds when we call on her, but also we're waking up our own inner capability to be Tara ourselves. And just a note about her name, in Tibetan, the name for Tara is Drolma, and what it means is liberator. So it's like a feminine, ma makes it a feminine, but drol is like to liberate. So she liberates us from fears, from delusions, from whatever. And when we say that mantra, we're evoking that energy of liberation from all of that. Okay, and I'm gonna write this mantra in chat before we start. So if you wanna look back at it, you can see it. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. All right, so let's start with a little singing it together. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. 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 Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, 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 Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, 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 Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tuttare Soha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, 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 Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. So now each of us, whether we're feeling ourselves as Tara or we're just asking Tara for her help and protection, we could imagine that we dissolve to light, Tara dissolves to light. The two of us are totally inseparable because we're both light. We'll just rest in that space for a moment. If this makes sense to you, I would just invite you to accept the blessings of Tara, whether that makes sense as the blessings of your own deep nature, the blessings of the universe, the blessings of green Tara. Just see if you can let them in and let them soak into your being, body, energy, and mind. And with that, let's wrap up this short practice. There's a lot of really wonderful tracks on Insight Timer where you can meditate with Tara's mantra. On the circle that I mentioned earlier, Buddhist Wisdom, Modern Life, somebody posted, I forget who it was, but somebody shared a beautiful track that someone had made of Green Tara's mantra, and it's just this person singing the track with music for about 7 minutes. So if you search on Insight Timer, if you want to do, more of these practices, you can find that. You can also Google Tara, read a bit more about her if you're interested, and you can find a lot of wonderful art if you Google her and, look at different images. Some people find that inspiring. Some people it doesn't really click with, but if looking at images of sort of sacred beings resonates with you, then I recommend checking her out.